good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? This is your guy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Appreciate the love, appreciate the support, appreciate you guys for always being locked in on the content. It does not go unnoticed. You guys have been true troopers throughout this entire football season. You guys have been holding it down. And let's be frank about it. The Philadelphia Eagles gave us a lot to be excited about, but they've also given us a handful of things to be worried about. So before we get too deep into the content, before I start to get to a bunch of your questions, your concerns, so on and so forth, make sure you guys smash that like button. I really appreciate all the love and support. Make sure you guys comment in the live chat. That really helps the show go by as smoothly as possible. And I truly appreciate y'all insight because sometimes y'all see things I don't see. Sometimes you guys notice things that I may not notice, right? So I really don't take it for granted. All the engagement, all the love that you guys provide, I don't take it for granted. So make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys continue to comment in the live chat. Also, make sure you guys check out the links below where you're able to check out the Chalk It Up Sports merch shop, things like that. You know, it's a couple pieces on there that you guys might want to lace yourself up with. So I appreciate all the love and support. We got some people in the live chat already. Make yourself known. Make yourself known. If you're homegrown, smash that like button. We got RJ Lucas in the building. RJ says we are in major trouble. Huh. All right. You know, we're going to get into a bunch of that, RJ. I appreciate you for locking in. We got my boy Jinx Wolf for always being locked in on the content. Appreciate you, my guy. What's going on? Hope all is well. Hope all of you guys had a happy new year too. You know, I don't take that for granted either. You know, it's 2023. I know a lot of people like to go into these new years like new year, new me, so on and so forth. No, I'm the same person. It's time for me just to evolve. It's time for me to just take whatever I've been doing to the next level. And I think we all should enter a new year with that mindset. Whatever we're doing, we need to take it to another level. If we're doing things the same way we did them in 2022, then we already starting off on the wrong foot. If we were doing things in 2022 that we shouldn't have been doing, let's leave those in 2022 and move forward into 2023. Pick up new habits, better habits. Let's love on our loved ones as much as we possibly can. Let's continue to spread good favor. Let's continue to spread positivity. And right now, the community is dealing with a tragic situation. Bill's safety, Damar Hamlin, had essentially a heart attack, or he experienced cardiac arrest on the football field in the Bills-Bengals game last night on Monday Night Football, and they ultimately decided to not continue the game due to the health scare. And this is a very serious situation. As it appears right now, Damar Hamlin is in critical condition. I believe he's still at Cincinnati University Hospital, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to give out false information, but you know, this is a sad situation because football is a sport that brings people together. You know, a lot of people, you know, live by the mantra, faith, family, and football. And, you know, I know that's something that my family has always been keen on, especially me and my relationship with my father, my brothers, and my mother. You know, I'm starting to get my wife into football as well. You know what I'm saying? So football has always been something that me and my family, or my family and I, have always gravitated towards. It's something we've always gotten together to watch on Sundays, family and friends. And, you know, even on Monday night sometimes, you know, me and my dad get together. Even if the Eagles not playing, we'll watch the games. And, you know, it's just sad to see a young man who's young, still in the infancy of his career. And he experienced something so traumatic, and now he's fighting for his life. You know, these are the moments where faith and family come to the forefront, and football is left in the background because the game gonna always be here. At the end of the day, it's a child's game that these guys get paid to play. They get paid to essentially have fun for the most part. And that's sure the business mucks it up a little bit, but ultimately, faith and family come to the forefront right now. Faith and family are at the forefront of the situation with Damar Hamlin. And I send my prayers, I send my love, I send my passion to his family. And again, it's something you don't want to see happen to anybody in any walk of life. You know, he's a young man. I'm not sure if he has kids or not, but he's a young man that has his whole life ahead of him. And I believe God always has a plan. That's always been my mindset. That's how I've always approached life. Whatever higher power you serve, get familiar with that higher power, because we never know when our day may come. And we're praying that Damar Hamlin's day is far from right now. So prayers out to him. Love sent his way. Love sent to his family. Love sent to the Buffalo Bills, his football brethren. Love sent to the football community. So make sure you guys support Damar Hamlin, his family, his friends through this time. You know, and it's so crazy the world we live in. You still have some people who believe that the game should have been played. You still have some people who believe that America's getting too soft, right? But since when was a life or death situation considered soft? You know, I didn't hear exactly what Skip Bayless said, but I heard that he tweeted something he shouldn't have tweeted. I heard that he pretty much lacked tact and lacked sympathy or empathy when it was needed most. And from what it appears, what I've seen on social media, Shannon Sharp didn't show up to work today. He didn't show up to the Undisputed set on Fox Sports. I think we all know why. Skip and Shannon have had a rocky past couple months. And, Skip isn't really doing himself any favors with the way he's been handling things. And he called himself apologizing today. I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw little bits and pieces of it. Look, at the end of the day, I'm all about forgiveness. So I'm not going to sit here and judge Skip Bayless. I'm not going to sit here and cast aspersions on who he is as a man, as a person, because I don't know him personally. I may disagree with his sports takes regularly, but I don't know that man as a person. And I don't want to cast spite or evilness on his heart. I don't know him personally. I just happen to disagree with him a lot when it comes to sports. So let's try not to make everything a personal attack, you guys. Let's try to keep it within bounds, And again, some people believe it was taken out of context. Like Lola D feels like his tweet was taken out of context. That's entirely plausible. It's entirely possible, right? The thing is about life is when you put things out into the universe, when you put energy out there, you can't be responsible for how people react, right? You can't put thoughts out there and try to control how people respond to it. Once you put energy out there, it's neither created or destroyed. It's simply transferred and repurposed. So it's important for us to understand the energy that we put out there. It means a lot. It carries a lot of weight. So again, sending my love to Damar Hamlin, his family once again. Prayers up. And I appreciate all you guys for locking in on the content. We got Chief Keese in the building. Appreciate you for locking in, my guy. We got Jinx Wolf as always. My man always holding it down for me. Lola D, appreciate you. RG Lucas, appreciate you. So make sure you guys smash that like button if you're on the way in. And also smash that like button on the way out. I appreciate all the love and support. Now, let's get to your Philadelphia Eagles, because we have some things to address with these guys. The Philadelphia Eagles suffered probably the most embarrassing loss of the season. They've only lost 3 times, but this loss by far hurt the most. And I feel that way because I never saw the coaching staff so unprepared. I never saw the team look so disjointed, and particularly on offense, right? Now, starting off, the defense didn't start off too well. They allowed a couple, long drives. They allowed a couple double-digit play drives. They kind of start off a little slow, but ultimately, the defense only gave up 13 points. The offense gave up the other 7. The score was 20-10. Philadelphia Eagles losing 20-10. Saints up, and the Eagles had a chance to win the game. They had a chance to win the game. They were only down 13-10 with plenty of time left. They had no reason to rush anything. But in our own territory, Gardner Minshew throws a pick 6 on a slant route that A.J. Brown should have worked a little harder to try to complete, right? I know some people feel like A.J. Brown shouldn't have threw Gardner Minshew under the bus because he's just as culpable for the pick six. Some people feel Gardner Minshew should have been more astute and paid attention to his wide receiver when he gave him the heads up that, yo, they pressing. We can't run this play, right? Some people feel so many different ways about it. But this game, the way it looked, if you really watch it back, this game was kind of over before it began, really. And I put it on the offensive coaching staff. I put it on Nick Sirianni. I put it on Shane Steichen, Kevin Patullo. I put it on those guys because at the end of the day, you have a backup quarterback playing right now. While Jalen Hurts is nursing that shoulder injury, you have a backup quarterback in. And you have a responsibility to put him in the best positions as possible. So when you don't do that, you tend to expose his flaws. You tend to compromise his situation. I was watching Baldy's breakdown, and he was livid. He was livid. He didn't understand the game plan. Neither did I. He didn't understand what the Eagles were trying to accomplish with their opening drives. You open the game throwing the ball 3 straight times. You get your quarterback hit 4 times in the first 2 drives, I think. In the first 2 or 3 drives, you got your quarterback mangled. So all of a sudden, now he's starting to see ghosts. His confidence is shattered. He's seeing things that aren't really there. He's reacting to the wind. I saw that first drive, and I was like, I don't think this game is ours. So I'm with you, Jinx Wolf. When I saw that first drive, I thought to myself, I don't think this is going to be the game. And it's sad because the New Orleans Saints didn't do anything special to win that game. Every time we lose a game, it's because of 2 things. We don't understand the value of time of possession. And on top of that, we turn the ball over in the most inopportune times. That's been the narrative. Dominate time of possession in Philadelphia, force a couple turnovers, force some key turnovers, and you can beat them. That's been the blueprint, right? In the Washington game, in the Dallas game, in the Saints game. Dominate time of possession, force them to make a couple mistakes, and you could beat them. Do the Eagles handle adversity well? I'm starting to question that. But not necessarily the players. I'm beginning to question, does the Eagles coaching staff have what it takes to coach through adversity? Do the Eagles have big problems brewing with their coaching staff and their inability to coach through adversity? Are they the weakest links in the building? Ask yourself this. Are they the weakest links? Is the coaching staff, is Nick Sirianni, Shane Steichen, and even Jonathan Gannon? Because he's not perfect either. Even though his defense only gave up 13 points. Let's make that very clear. But Andy Dalton was carving him up the first couple drives. Shout out to Josiah Scott for redeeming himself, getting the pick. But ultimately, this coaching staff has showed their ass these past few weeks. The game planning has been questionable. Poor game planning got Jalen Hurts hurt, no pun intended. Poor game planning got Gardner Minshew mollywopped this past Sunday. Now, was the game plan shaky against the Dallas Cowboys? I don't think so. I think the Dallas Cowboys game plan was actually pretty sound. I wish we would have leaned on our running game a little bit more instead of relying on Gardner Minshew to throw the ball north of 30 times. But ultimately, I think the Cowboys game plan was pretty sound, was pretty stout. We lost that game because of turnovers, strictly because of turnovers. We turned the ball over one less time. We win that game. We gave the Dallas Cowboys additional possessions, right? So it's important to realize the difference between how these games have been called. And I'm pretty sure you guys have noticed that. The Dallas Cowboys game wasn't that bad in terms of play calling. But the Chicago game, the New Orleans Saints game. Two technically inferior opponents. Are the Eagles beginning to play down to the competition? Are they beginning to sell themselves short or sell the opponent short? Is Nick Sirianni becoming arrogant? Hubris is a hell of a thing. And it always comes back to bite you. It always comes back. Ryan Rose says backup quarterbacks play differently, so you need a different game plan. Throwing the ball 3 straight times isn't working. You got to switch it up. Quick reads. You know what I mean? Like, I understand. I feel you on that. I understand. Jinx Swift says, and that was a BS call on Dickerson. Absolutely, man. That was not holding. That was probably one of the most egregious holding calls I've seen in a while. That was just pure dominance. Even the commentator was like, that is not holding. You can't call holding because a guy just simply got dominated. Simple as that. Lola D says, yes, it seems like they don't know what to do when their talent is missing. That's a very interesting point, Lola, because, or is it Lala? I'm sorry. Lala, my bad. Lala D. I apologize for getting your name wrong. I said it wrong a few times. Appreciate you. Make sure you guys smash that like button. You might be on to something, Lala. 2 games, Jalen Hurts hasn't been here. 1 game, the offense looked pretty explosive still. Then you go up against a lesser opponent, in my opinion. Maybe the Saints have a better DB room, maybe. But you essentially go up against a lesser opponent. And all you had to do was put up 20 points because that pick 6 shouldn't happen. All you had to do is put up 17 points. You win that game if you put up 17 points. But instead, you gifted the Saints an additional 7 points, making the score 20-10. So this game was very much within reach. Yet, Gardner Minshew gave it away. But at the same time, can I really be mad at Gardner Minshew, though? Can I really be mad at him for being thrusted in a situation that was not optimal? Now, granted, Gardner Minshew is a pro. He's been playing this game long enough. He should understand what's required, right? Gardner Minshew was terrible, but the game plan didn't do him any favors, right? I think we all can agree with that. So again, I'll ask, has this coaching staff become a liability? Is this coaching staff trending in the wrong direction? Are they believing their own hype? Do they have what it takes to make the right decisions at the right time in the playoffs? And that's what separates the 2017 coaching staff with this coaching staff. It seemed like the 2017 Super Bowl coaching staff just knew what buttons to press and when to press them. And look, could this be an overreaction? Could it? It's very possible that this could be an overreaction on my part. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. Flat out, the Eagles got embarrassed, 20-10. They're now 13-3. And this is their first losing streak of the season. Now, look, some of the best teams have had losing streaks. The Buffalo Bills had a losing streak. You know, we're not going to pretend like that didn't happen, right? The Buffalo Bills lost to the Jets and the Vikings back-to-back. So it happens. It happens. You know, some of the best teams have 3 losses. The Chiefs got 3 losses. The Bills got 3 losses, right? The Chiefs lost to the Colts, the Bills, and the Bengals. 2 of those losses, respectable losses. I get it. Those were tough games. You know what I'm saying? But the Colts, no one saw that coming, but that's still relatively early in the season. But overall, though, anybody can get got. And all the best teams have 3 losses this year. It's just that the Philadelphia Eagles losses are happening at the worst time. The injuries are piling up at the worst possible time. You have Lane Johnson out with a slight abdominal tear that he's going to play through, as a matter of fact. He's not going to get the surgery. He's going to play through it, and we'll see how long he lasts. Starting is not the issue. How he finishes will be the question. You got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. coming off of a lacerated kidney. How effective will he be? It'll be an improvement, I'm sure. But how effective will he be? Avonte Maddox, another player dealing with another injury. He was dealing with a hamstring earlier this season. Now he's dealing with a severe toe injury. Will he come back? We don't know. We just don't know if he'll come back. Jalen Hurts with the throwing shoulder injury. How effective will he be? Will he be able to play his style of football, knowing what we know about the injury? I'm pretty sure there are other players. Miles Sanders currently dealing with a knee, right? So there are some things that needs to be addressed with this Philadelphia Eagles team. And it sucks that it's happening right before the playoffs. But let me just give you a little bit of reassurance here. Let me give you a little bit of confidence so you guys don't feel like we're totally ass out. They're still in control of their destiny. The Philadelphia Eagles are still very much in control of their destiny because all they have to do is win and they got the number 1 seed. And the New York Giants, they've already locked up the 6th seed. They're not moving anywhere. No matter what happens, they're locked into the 6th seed. So the Giants essentially have nothing to play for this upcoming Sunday at 4:25 p.m. Eastern time. They have nothing really to play for, but will they play some of their starters? Probably to keep them fresh, keep them warm, I guess you'll say. But that should be a game the Philadelphia Eagles win. It's a must-win game, especially if you want that number 1 seed, which will give you the first round bye. And as the season progresses, as the weeks pass, that first round bye is becoming more and more valuable for the Philadelphia Eagles because they've sustained some key injuries in key spots, and they can use all the rest that they can get. Like I said, there is a silver lining here. The Eagles are still in control of their own destiny. And on top of that, I know I've mentioned that they're potentially going into the playoffs on the wrong foot. They're potentially entering the playoffs not playing their best football. But the 2017 Super Bowl team, I brought them up earlier. When Carson Wentz went down, Nick Foles came into play. Things didn't seem so smooth then either. Nick Foles didn't play his best football going into the playoffs. Even that Atlanta Falcons matchup wasn't his best game. He picked it up in the second half, and I think that's when the coaching staff, Doug Peterson and those guys figured it out. Frank Reich and those guys figured it out. The RPO. We got to get Nick Foles popping with this RPO. That's what we got to do, right? So, again, the 2017 Super Bowl team did not enter the playoffs with the most momentum. They didn't come in guns blazing, but they managed to win their matchups when it mattered most. They managed to, and also some luck swung, some things swung their way, of course. We all remember the Torrey Holt catch, the ball bouncing off of Keanu Neal's knee, and Torrey Holt catching the ball, putting the Eagles in field goal position. We all remember that. So, again, there is a silver lining. Although the Philadelphia Eagles from 2017 that won the Super Bowl, although they didn't enter the playoffs with the greatest start or with any momentum, really, they still managed to dominate their matchups when it mattered most. And at the end of the day, it's all about going 1-0 each week. Whatever happened last week, you got to leave it there. You can't carry it. That's the beautiful thing about football. That's the beautiful thing about the NFL. You have an opportunity to rewrite your story every single week. Isn't it beautiful? That's why I love sports. There's always an opportunity to redeem yourself. You're never ass out in this thing. You can rewrite your legacy in one game. You can change the narrative with one moment. That's all it takes. Think about Nick Foles, y'all. Think about his career. He almost retired. Doug Peterson and those boys brought him back. He came in, he was the backup, he did his thing, won the Super Bowl 52 MVP, rewrote his entire legacy. He's forever enshrined in Canton, Ohio over his performance in Super Bowl 52. You can rewrite your legacy. That's why, sports can be likened to everyday life. Every day we have an opportunity to change the narrative on ourselves. Every day we have an opportunity to change how we're seen to the naked eye. It's some people probably counting you out right now. It's probably people in your life that you love, and they probably love you too, but they probably expect the least or probably expect the worst out of you. Let me know if I'm talking to somebody. Let me know if y'all feeling me or not. I need to check y'all temperature, because in this game of football, you got an opportunity to rewrite your legacy each and every week. In this game of life, you got a chance to rewrite your legacy. You got a chance to change the entire narrative, You got a chance to flip the script on any and everything, on any and everybody. Like I said, it's probably somebody close to you. You might not even know it, but you probably feel it. It's probably somebody counting you out. There's probably somebody expecting the least out of you, expecting the worst out of you, expecting you to fail because you failed once before. But it ends, and you have the power to end it. Just how the Philadelphia Eagles have an opportunity to shift the narrative on themselves. It's not over. This football team is still 13-3. This football team still won 13 games. This football team still took it to some of the best teams in the NFC. The Vikings, the Cowboys. You feel what I'm saying? The Giants are a playoff team now. The Packers might squeeze into the playoffs. Y'all dig what I'm saying? So the Eagles have beat some teams this year. Don't panic. Are they in trouble? Maybe. But should you panic? No. Because at the end of the day, they have a chance to rewrite it. They got a chance to change the entire narrative of them right now. It's some people panicking. It's some people abandoning ship. And I know I tweeted not too long ago. I tweeted something that was pretty hyperbole, I guess you'll say, right? I personally felt like at the time, and this was posted right after the game. I posted this tweet right after the game. I'm about to show it to y'all real quick because I'm real transparent and I want y'all to know how I'm carrying it. I posted this right after the game. I said the Eagles are in trouble. We are not going to sugarcoat it. We deserve all the shit talking we about to get this week. So just deal with it, people. You got to just deal with it. But again, they got an opportunity to rewrite this thing. They got an opportunity to change the entire narrative. They got it. They got an opportunity. So don't panic. It ain't over until the fat lady sing. And goddamn it, she ain't welcome here. So no need to panic, people. No need to panic. That loss, it hurt. It hurt me because I'm watching the game like, what the hell's going on? I didn't quite understand what was happening. But it ain't over. This football team still won 13 games. This football team is very much still alive. This football team is very much still dangerous. So don't panic, don't stress. It's going to all happen the way it's supposed to. That's my mindset, at least. That's my mindset. But another thing, excuse me, y'all. I'm still getting over that illness I had a couple weeks ago. The cough sticking with me. Lala says, yes, they are more than capable, but will they? I didn't sense any urgency the past couple of weeks, especially when you have the chance to clinch the number 1 seed in the division, which is 1 win. I feel you, Lala. I feel you. I'm not going to pretend like I don't feel you. You brought up a great point. Where was the urgency? Where was the fire? It was non-existent, was it not? So I completely understand your perspective, Lala. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You are absolutely right. Where was the sense of urgency when you knew what the stakes were? You knew the stakes were high. Yet they knew they had opportunity after opportunity. So did they get a little complacent? Did they think the Saints would lay down and die? Probably. But the Saints had a lot to play for. They still had an opportunity to get into the playoffs. Now it's over for them because the Buccaneers won and they've locked up the division. So it's over for the New Orleans Saints. It's unfortunate that we gave them that game and it meant nothing in the grand scheme of things. Ain't that sad? We gave them a game and it meant nothing ultimately in the grand scheme of things for them. But it meant everything to us. So we deserve all the crap that we're going to get. The Eagles deserve all the crap they're going to get. That's just the reality. They can't escape it. So Lala, you bring up a hell of a point. I'm not going to pretend like you're saying nothing wrong. At the end of the day, they got to prove it. And they got to show that it matters to them just as much as it matters to us. Queasy the Great, my man. He says, I believe if Hurts never got hurt, we would easily have blown the Cowboys and Saints out. Now, easily blowing out the Cowboys, I don't know. I'm not going to say easily because that's still a good football team. You got to respect the opposition. Now, the Saints, I think we would have won that game easily. I think that would have been an easy game to win. But overall, Quezzy the Great, you bring up the fact that if Hurts never would have got hurt, and I blame the coaching staff for that still to this day, for putting your quarterback in a position he had to be in, for not leaning on your running back, a running back that you're not going to resign. The Eagles are not going to resign Miles Sanders. We've all come to that conclusion, right? We all accept that. He's not coming back here. So why not run that man into the dirt? Why not use him and get your money's worth? Why not, especially in a game like that against the Bears, why are you running your quarterback, getting him smacked around on that hard-ass frozen tundra of Chicago? Why? Doesn't make any sense to me. But, Drew says, my issue is with the coaches. Where is the self-awareness and the flexibility? They came in with a terrible game plan and no resolve to commit to a change. Abso-freaking-lutely, Drew. Thank you so much for locking in on the content, by the way, my man. If you guys are just popping in, make sure y'all smash that like button. Make sure you guys subscribe to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. But Drew, my issues with the coaches as well. Where was their sense of urgency? Where was their level of awareness? See, it's a top-down effect, right? Players take on the personality of their coaches in terms of how they perform, in terms of how they respond to things. If the coach is tight, the player's going to be tight. If the coach is stressed, the player's going to be stressed. If the coach is nervous, the players are going to be nervous. So if you saw no urgency from the players, what do you think the players saw from the coaches? Talk to me, y'all. Talk to me. I need to know. If you saw no urgency from the players, what do you think the players saw from the coaches? These coaches better tighten up because it's too much talent on this roster for them to be playing dumb like this. There's too much talent on this roster for them to be moving the way they've been moving these past few weeks. So the coaches are on the clock, in my opinion. It's not the team, it's the coaches. That's what I think. I'm seeing poor coaching. That's my perspective, though. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong. Y'all let me know if I'm over exaggerating. Y'all let me know if y'all feel differently. Comment below and tell me your thoughts. Has this coaching staff become a liability? Has this coaching staff become the weakest link? And if they have, Y'all know how the show goes. Y'all know how the old adage goes. If you are the weakest link, goodbye. That might be a little too old school for some of y'all. That might be a little too old school for some of y'all. I remember the old show back in the day, The Weakest Link. That I don't know if some of y'all, I don't know if all y'all know about that game show. But I digress. One thing that stood out to me is the fact that Jalen Hurts' value has skyrocketed these past couple of weeks. Jalen Hurts' value has taken a leap that most national people were afraid to admit. If you pay attention to the way this team's been playing this past couple of weeks, you clearly see where they miss Jalen Hurts. This team doesn't even have the same body language when he's not on the field. I promise you. AJ Brown and those boys, they can't wait to get Jalen Hurts back suited up. They can't wait. Because Gardner Minshew, he just looked like a deer in headlights. And they see it, they know it. And players know who can play and who can't. You see, I rely on players to tell me who can play and who can't. I don't rely too much on people who ain't really been there before or who haven't covered the game for a long time. I rely on people who have firsthand knowledge to tell me who can play and who can't. Because ultimately, as much as I love the game, as much as I try to study the game and be as knowledgeable as I possibly can, I'm still a layman in comparison to guys that actually play the game, guys that have covered the game for 10, 15, 20 plus years. I'm in love with the storylines. I'm in love with narratives. I'm in love with, the passion that the game brings, right? So Jalen Hurts' value has jumped to a level that some were afraid to admit because everyone kept saying, oh, any quarterback can play in this system. Any quarterback can do Jalen Hurts' job. That's what everybody kept saying. That was what the narrative was, that any and everybody can do this job in Philadelphia. When you got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, when you have, Dallas Goedert and Miles Sanders and Zach Pascal, Quez Watkins, you got this offensive line, you got this defense. Anybody can do that job in Philadelphia. Any quarterback, you put Justin Fields back there, that team is 13-1, 13-3, whatever you want to slice it. That team wins double-digit games if you put anybody back there. Gardner Minshew, this team won't miss a beat. Y'all still believe that? Y'all still believe that Jalen Hurts is a product of the system? Because by my estimation, that good brother, he is the system. He is the system. Don't let these national correspondents, and it's not all of them, some people are still left in the dark. And you got some people who understand Jalen Hurts' value. They understand what Jalen Hurts brings to the table, not just from a passing perspective, but also from a running perspective. He opens the run game wide open for Miles Sanders. And that brings up a topic that I want to talk about with you guys, but I'm not going to talk about it yet. I'm not going to talk about it just yet. I want to talk about Miles Sanders, but not quite yet. I'm still on Jalen Hurts' value right now. Jalen Hurts' value through the roof right now, y'all. Through the roof. It was real. It says, "What's up, Tone? Good to see you on this Tuesday, my brother. Thank you. I appreciate y'all for being here on Tuesday. Shout out to my man Rock the Artist as well. Drew Johnson being here. Lala D, Quezzy the Great. Who else? Jinx Wolf, RJ Lucas. I appreciate all y'all for locking in on the content. It means a lot to me. Chief Keese, I do not take it for granted. Thank y'all for being here. So make sure y'all smash that like button as well. I appreciate that. Jalen Hurts, his value was definitely shown. In that Saints game. You saw so many moments where Jalen Hurts probably could have took off, kept drives alive, so on and so forth. You saw it. And this coaching staff should have done a better job preparing Gardner Minshew. They should have done a better job putting him in positions where he could succeed. They've proven why they have the MVP. Now, will Jalen Hurts win the MVP? No. And he quite frankly shouldn't, because of the fact that he's missed games. And it matters. You know, if you miss games, you can't be considered for MVP. You know, it just can't happen. One game, okay, that's not really much. But Jalen Hurts missed 2 games. It matters. And it was already neck and neck between him and Patrick Mahomes. So we know who the award is going to go to. Patrick Mahomes is going to get his second career MVP. He already has a Hall of Fame resume. So shout out to Patrick Mahomes. But Jalen Hurts is the MVP for the Philadelphia Eagles. He is their most valuable player. He is their most valuable asset. He is their most valuable commodity. And if they don't realize it by now, if the national media doesn't realize it by now, they better call Jesus, because I don't know who else got the answers. They better dial him quick, because Jalen Hurts' value is clear. Clear. He understands what he's seeing out there. He doesn't panic in the pocket. He creates. He's a playmaker. He's an improviser. He just opens the offense wide open. And you've seen defenses not being too afraid of Gardner Minshew, forcing him to throw the ball and read the defense. There was a moment where the Saints only sent 3 players to rush the quarterback. And it was early in the game, too. They only rushed him with 3 defensive linemen. And they just dropped back 8 guys and said, hey, listen, Gardner Minshew, find the open guy. And he couldn't do it. So it's no mistake why this team hasn't looked as proficient, because Jalen Hurts isn't there. Lala D says, that just makes me question how much coaching incompetence Hurts was making up for. Right, I got you. That's a good point, Lala D. Because you know what? Because you know what their contingency plan is when all else fails? You know what they tell Jalen to do? Hey, Jalen, if nothing's there, just take off. Just do your thing. What kind of coaching is that? When all else fails, just take off. You got to protect this young man, because Jalen Hurts will take off if you give him license to. I'm not saying that's all he relies on. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is, as a coaching staff, you have to have contingencies in place so your quarterback can be effective and maintain his long-term health when it matters most. I'm not saying take away Jalen Hurts' superpower. But what I am saying is, be more creative when it comes to utilizing your quarterback's ability. Be more creative, right? That's all I'm asking for. Because we see Jalen Hurts' value. We see what he does for the running game. We see what he does in the passing game. When he's not there, the deep ball, the explosive plays are non-existent. It's just not a common thing. It's just not common when Jalen Hurts is not there, right? So ultimately, Jalen Hurts' value is through the roof right now, and you see his impact on the running game. You see his impact on Miles Sanders' career year, and that brings me to my next topic. Is Miles Sanders, and I want all y'all opinion on this. Don't be shy now, because now I'm about to rock the boat. And I might make some of y'all upset. This next topic might make some of y'all upset. So I need to know. And I'm keeping it so real with you guys. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a 24-second break. 24 seconds flat. Nothing more, nothing less. We're going to take a 24-second break. And I have a question for you guys about Miles Sanders, about his value to this team, about how valuable Jalen Hurts is to his success and the offensive line. So keep it locked, you guys. Smash that like button. Don't go anywhere. We will be back in 24 seconds flat. are back. This is Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge to the game. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys remain engaged in the live chat. I appreciate all the love and support, as always. Now, I had a question that I wanted to bring up with you guys, and I told you I might rock the boat with this one. I might make y'all upset. Y'all might feel like I'm hating. Y'all might feel like I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But we're going to get into it. We talked about Jalen Hurts' value. We talked about what he brings to the table from a leadership perspective, from a playmaking perspective, from an improvising perspective, from a passing perspective. We've talked about that. We've talked about what he brings to the table from a running perspective, how dangerous he can be in that. And we also talked about how Miles Sanders has been a beneficiary of Jalen Hurts' presence. So I have to ask you guys a question, and I want real answers. No fluff, no BS. Is Miles Sanders as valuable as we think he is? Is Miles Sanders as dominant, or is he as dynamic as we think he is? Because since Jalen Hurts has not been in the lineup, he has not been as dominant as I would like him to be. Now, there are many, many, many reasons why that may be the case. But in 3 weeks in a row, and Chicago, 11 attempts, 42 yards. In Dallas, 21 attempts, 65 yards, averaged 3 yards a carry. And also, don't forget, in Chicago, he averaged 3 yards a carry as well, a little less than 4 yards a carry. And then in New Orleans, versus New Orleans, 12 attempts, 61 yards, averaged 5 yards a carry. Right? So 3 weeks in a row, he has yet to go over 100 yards. Why is that? Is it because Jalen Hurts is not there? Is it because he doesn't get the opportunities like Kwesi the Great thinks? He says he is valuable. We just don't use him enough. Fair enough. But here's why I bring it up, because I understand that we could use him more. I definitely agree with the fact that we can use him more. I don't want you guys to think I'm having a disingenuous conversation with you. The Eagles should definitely be using Miles Sanders more. I said that earlier in the show, right? Run him into the dirt. You're not going to resign him. Run that man until the wheels fall off, quite literally. And no disrespect to him, but damn it, I don't think the Eagles going to resign him. So it's about time you start giving that man 20 to 25, 30 carries a game, 20 to 25, 30 touches a game. However you got to get it to him, get it to him. But by my estimation, does Miles Sanders look as effective to you with Jalen Hurts not in the lineup? Be real. Does he look as effective? Kwesi also says they usually give him all his carries in the second half. We never get him rolling in the beginning of the game. That's a good point. And I think that is a problem, because you can't just not give a guy touches and all of a sudden expect him to be Superman. That's not logical to me. You got to get those hands warm. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's actually why he fumbled in that Bears game, because they didn't really give him the ball, and all of a sudden they throw him a ball for a screen pass, and he get clapped, fumble. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think the coaching staff is doing him as many favors as they could, but I also think Miles Sanders should be playing better with the opportunities he's been given. He had, let's not forget, in Dallas, he had 21 attempts. 21 attempts and averaged only 3 yards a carry. They gave him the ball a lot in that Dallas game, did they not? And he did nothing with it. Let's be transparent. Drew says, I agree with Kwesi. Even in the Doug Peterson reign, he was running well, but they didn't give him enough runs. But I think the question is, how much do we value the running back position with Jalen? Drew, that's what you call thinking with your noodle. How much do we value the running back position with Jalen? You brought up a good point. Do you need to have a top tier running back in that position, knowing what you know about this offensive line and Jalen Hurts and what they provide? Because you got to ask yourself, how much of Miles Sanders' production is it based solely on his skill set, or is it based off of what Jalen Hurts is able to do and create space for Miles? The offensive line also. For the past few years, most running backs that have run for us, Jordan Howard, Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell, they've averaged over 4 yards a carry. Miles has averaged 5 yards a carry. So that's a 1 yard differential. So how valuable is Miles Sanders? Really? Now, let me make this clear because I don't want to have a disingenuous conversation with y'all. Y'all my people. Miles Sanders is the best running back on the Philadelphia Eagles. He's the best running back on the Philadelphia Eagles, bar none, hands down, without question. He deserves, at minimum, 20 touches a game. At minimum, 20 touches a game. I don't care how you manufacture them. He deserves, at minimum, 20 touches a game. He's a 1,000-yard running back. The Eagles' first 1,000-yard running back since LaShawn McCoy, right? You got to manufacture touches for this kid, especially if you know you're not going to resign him. You gotta do better. You got to do a better job, Nick Sirianni, Shane Steichen. You got to do a better job at keeping it simple, stupid. It's not that complicated to get Miles Sanders involved. Just run the ball. Trust your offensive line. Control time of possession. This coaching staff gets greedy. They can be arrogant at times. The Eagles are still developing their passing attack, if you ask me. I still think the Eagles' passing attack is something that can be better. But we can't forget what got us here. We can't forget what makes this offense so dangerous. And that's the ability in the running game also. And you got to put Miles Sanders in better positions than what they've been doing. You got to. You got to. Moving on, I want to talk about Josh Sweat, man. Josh Sweat suffered a pretty scary injury in that New Orleans Saints game. And it made me nervous, right? You know, these guys, these football players, they lay it all out on the line. They put their bodies in compromising positions to make plays. And you know, these guys, they ain't out there playing scared. They know the risk and they don't and they make and do. But man, Josh Sweat, he suffered a pretty scary neck injury, but you know, he had to get carted off the field, and the cart had to move really slowly because they wanted to make sure they didn't disrupt anything. And it was scary because he kind of laid on the ground, not moving too much. And they wanted to make sure he had full use of his extremities because we've seen how bad this can get in the NFL. It made me think about the Ryan Shazier injury when he kind of went head first. I think the crown of his helmet hit a player's knee or whatever it was, or a thigh. But it's scary what these players go through. And you know, Josh Sweat, he was released from the hospital, you know, late that night. So they obviously didn't think he did any damage where he needed to stay overnight. He was able to walk out of there under his own power, out of the hospital, I'm sure. So, you know, missing Josh Sweat hurts the Philadelphia Eagles. It hurts the pass rush. But the fact that you have Haason Reddick playing at a career high level, you have Brandon Graham playing at a career high level, you have Javon Hargrave playing at a career high level. You brought in Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh to make life easier for Fletcher Cox and Jordan Davis. You got Milton Williams coming in spots, wreaking havoc. And also, you have Robert Quinn waiting for his opportunity. And I think this is why you bring in Robert Quinn. Now, I understand Robert Quinn didn't give us that much early on. He didn't really have that many snaps either. And I understand he's having a down year, with Chicago, and we thought we would get a little bit more out of him, and we haven't really gotten much out of it. I totally get everyone's frustration with that trade, but ultimately, you take a swing, and not all of them are going to be home runs. But damn it, if you could get a single, a contact hit, you know what I mean? If you can get a double, if you can get a triple, it's all about making contact with your swings. It's all about making contact. And I think the Philadelphia Eagles have an opportunity to make contact with their swing for Robert Quinn. Again, was it a home run? Not by any stretch of the imagination. But can they make contact with Josh Sweat being out? Can Robert Quinn come in and be a force? Be a game changer? Those pass rush skills just don't disappear, in my opinion. The year before, or last season, he had 18 sacks. 18 and a half sacks, if I'm not mistaken. That doesn't just disappear. They had him on IR for his knee, and Lord knows if that was like the real deal or they were just trying to make space for somebody. Whatever. The bottom line is Josh Sweat is out right now with a neck injury. You have no idea when he's coming back. I personally don't trust Patrick Johnson on the edge like that. He's a young guy, but I don't trust him to get home. But Robert Quinn, he's still a savvy veteran. He got to have something left in the tank. He's been resting. He got to be itching to get out there. I fully expect to see Robert Quinn out there filling in some snaps for Josh Sweat while he's out. Like I said, you still got Brandon Graham having a career year coming off an Achilles injury. How? Like Brandon Graham he's found the fountain of youth. Can Robert Quinn locate it as well? Can he come in key spots in the playoffs? Can he do that? I think he can. You brought in Ndamukong Suh, a guy who turns it up in the playoffs historically. Y'all saw what he did in that run with the Buccaneers. He wreaks havoc. This team is comprised with a good combination of talent, veteran leadership, and just skill and ferocity. Just ferocious pass rushers. Robert Quinn should be able to benefit from having Haason Reddick on the opposite side. He should be able to benefit from having guys like Fletcher Cox and Ndamukong Suh and Javon Hargrave and those guys. He should be able to benefit from that. Again, we have no idea when Joshua is coming back. I haven't heard any updates on it. I'm not sure if you guys have, but I have no idea when Joshua is coming back. And this is a chance for Robert Quinn to add to his legacy. He's already in the 100 sack club. He has over 100 sacks for his career. He's in that club. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. But can he add that Super Bowl ring? Can he be a contributor on a Super Bowl roster in a playoff run? I think he can. I think he's eligible to come back against the Giants. But he's going to be available in the playoffs. He's going to be available. All they got to do is activate him. Now, who do they remove? Who do they bring down? Who do they, pull up? You don't really know how it's going to play out. That's not my job to figure out. But I think if you want this pass rush to maintain its level of ferociousness, if you still want this pass rush to inflict fear, I think you bring up Robert Quinn because you don't want Brandon Graham getting burnt out too soon. And I don't trust Patrick Johnson, a young guy. You bring up Robert Quinn. You allow him to rotate with Brandon Graham and all those boys. You know what I'm saying? Milton Williams and Haason Reddick and all those guys. You allow him to come in, and he could be a timely pass rusher. You never know what may happen. This is why you make the move for Robert Quinn. That's why. So, yeah, I think this Philadelphia Eagles team, everything is still in front of them. They're still in control of their destiny. So that's just my mindset about it, man. Jalen Hurts, he's supposed to come back against the New York Giants. He's supposed to play. And I'm curious to see how he looks coming off of this shoulder injury. I don't know if the injury is as serious or not as serious as they've led on. I'm not entirely sure the severity of the injury. But we knew he was throwing the ball around in practice before the Saints game. Did the Eagles get cocky and think they can win that game without Hurts? Probably so. But overall, it's a foregone conclusion that Hurts is going to play in the final game. And I'm actually happy about that. I know a lot of you guys wanted to lock up the number 1 seed pretty early, but part of me feels this way. The Eagles needed this kick in the ass before they got to the playoffs. They needed to be humbled once again coming into the playoffs. They needed to be reminded that anybody can get touched on any given Sunday. It doesn't matter who you are, and to never sleep on the opponent no matter who they are. They needed the extra reps, in my opinion, the starters especially. I personally wanted to see Jalen Hurts play a game, play a half, play some snaps before going into the playoffs with that shoulder. I didn't want his first game back to be a playoff game. I wanted him to knock the rust off, be dominant like we know he can be, and then take care of business. And then he rushed the entire bye week in the first round of the playoffs, and he come out guns blazing. That was my mindset. So, Jalen Hurts, he's going to play in that final game. We don't know if the Giants are going to start any other guys. We don't know. Maybe for a quarter, maybe a few series. You never know. But ultimately, the Giants, their position is locked in. They have absolutely nothing to play for. But Brian Daboll strikes me as a coach that will play his guys for at least a quarter or a half. He strikes me as that kind of guy. His guys are going to have to play in the first round. So he probably doesn't want to lose momentum. He strikes me as that kind of guy. Now, I don't think he'll play Saquon. I don't think that'll be the case. But overall, I think the Eagles will have to play against the Giants starters, maybe in the first quarter, the first half, and then the Eagles have to take care of business from that point forward. And I'm actually glad this team is getting tested like this. I'm glad the Philadelphia Eagles got to go through this because they deserve every bit of it. And if you want to be Super Bowl champion, we've seen what it looks like to win a championship in Philadelphia. We know what it takes from the fan perspective. We've seen the blood, sweat, and tears that the 2017, 2018 team had to go through. We've seen it. We've seen the casualties lost along the way. So this team needs to feel that. They need to respect the game more. They need to understand what comes with this. To much is given, much is earned. And to much is left to be desired. You want to win a championship? You want to be a Super Bowl champion? You got to play in the mud, baby. You got to live by the sword and die by the sword. That's just my mindset. That's just how I'm carrying it. Y'all tell me if y'all feel differently. Y'all tell me if y'all feel differently. It's straight like that. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys continue to stay engaged with the content. I'm about to get out of here soon. I appreciate all the love you guys have provided to me. You guys are spectacular. Spectacular. You guys always stay connected. You guys always hold me accountable. And I don't take it for granted not one bit. So, again, make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys stay locked in on the content. I'm going to be live again tomorrow. Same time, 12:15 p.m. All right? So be on the lookout for that. I appreciate the love and the support. I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry. And fly Eagles fly.